the Wedding Dance was written by Filipino author Amador Daguio, a well-known poet and fictionist. His work often explores Filipino identity and tribal culture and emotional depth. And the story is no exception. Set in traditional Ifugao society, the Wedding Dance tells the faithful story of Awiyao and Lumnay, a couple whose love is torn apart by expectations of their tribe. In this analysis, we'll focus on two major elements, conflict and diction, and how these elements make the story both powerful and heartbreaking.
There are two main types of conflicts in the story, which are man versus society and man versus self.
The man versus society conflict is seen in Awiyao's situation. Even though he still loves his first wife, Lumnay, he is forced to marry another woman, Madulimay, because Lumnay cannot bear a child in their culture. A man's value is tied to mothering children who will carry on his name and legacy. Because of this, Awiyao remarries not out of desire but out of duty. His love became a sacrifice in the name of tradition. This reflects how cultural pressures can override personal happiness.
Meanwhile, Lumnay's emotional battle is an example of man versus self. She is heartbroken and confused. She wants to stop the wedding and fight for Awiyao, but she's also bound by the same cultural beliefs. At one point, she gathers her courage and goes to the wedding, not to celebrate, but to stop it. However, as she gets closer, her courage fades. She cannot bring herself to break the tradition. She turns away and quietly grieving. This silence says more than words. Her pain is internal, emotional, and intense. Her decision is not to act reflects how fear, love, and helplessness can conflict within a person.
The author's choice of words, which adds to the emotional weight of the story.
Or dramatic, but that's what makes it powerful. The simplicity reflects the honesty and raw emotion of the characters. For example, when it says Lumnay can hardly let go of her husband, it's not filled with metaphor, but it hits hard because the truth is clear and painful.
The diction also highlights symbolism. Words like dance, beads, and mountain are not just literal. The dance represents society's traditions, something Lumnay refuses to join. The beads symbolize the promise and emotional bond between her and Awiyao. Even though they are being separated and the mountain, where Lumnay walks away in the end, symbolizes isolation, freedom, and emotional release. These simple words can carry deep meanings thanks to the context they are used.
Daguio also uses repetition and contrast to make emotions stand out. The repetition of Lumnay's hesitation, her silence, and her inner struggle shows how deeply torn she is. Contrast is shown in the way the village is filled with music and dancing. While Lumnay walks alone in the darkness, the diction used to describe Lumnay is quiet, still, and soft, while the scene of the wedding is loud, bright, and full of movement. This contrast helps the readers feel her emotional isolation.
In conclusion, the wedding dance, Amador masterfully uses conflict and diction to present a love story, caught in the grip of tradition. Awiyao and Lumnay are not victims of each other, but of a cultural system that values legacy over love. Through powerful emotional conflict and simple yet meaningful word choices, Daguio makes us feel the pain of letting go, the sorrow of silence, and the burden of honoring tradition at the cost of one's heart.
That would be all. Thank you for watching and goodbye.